What do you want to be when you grow up? The question intending to provide more clarity for the future, but one that's only ever fed my imagination and clouded my mind. I mean, I'm sure the adults meant well, but the thought of reducing my existence into one single word kind of felt suffocating. Maybe that's just me though. But if I did have to pick that one thing, how did I know I was pursuing the right one? This is my first YouTube video. I really feel like it's taken me so long to get to this point, even though starting to vlog my life and building my social media platforms has always been a very big dream of mine. I feel like it's taken me this long to get to this point because I thought you had to be good at something to start doing it. I missed out on a big portion of my teenage years because I was always crippled with this anxiety or this fear of being judged by other people. And that's kind of the biggest thing that's ever held me back from creating this video, because I wasn't really scared that I was going to be judged. I mean, the idea of this being out there for the entire world to see, even my biggest haters, is a bit intimidating, yes. But I think it was more so I was just scared of not being good at this. I was scared of not being able to talk to the camera like this. Okay, I have a thesis to write. I will see you all later. This is my first YouTube video, yes, but my story doesn't start here. It starts here. I posted my very first piece of content in October 2023. And I know that because around the same time, I was dealing with one of those big life events that cause you to step back and rethink everything. For the better half of that year, I spent my time doing what most of us do when a change like this happens. Clean up the house, take up new hobbies, meet new people, get more consistent at the gym. But there was one thing I kept turning back to in order to clear my mind. Even though my world had flipped upside down, it was this one thing that kept me excited about each new day. Although I had never really considered it as a viable career pathway. For the first time in my life, my perspective on this question has changed. I had spent all this time searching for what I thought was the right career, the one I was qualified for, the one that would make me rich, or the one that made my parents proud. So I decided this. I was going to follow what I was interested in and see where it takes me. I wasn't the best at creating content, and I probably never will be. But that's okay. We don't have to be great to start, but we do have to start if we're going to be great. So, coming up to March 1st will be about a year and a half since I started creating content, which is kind of crazy. At least it feels crazy for me. What's more crazy is how much my content has changed over this period of time. Some of you know me all the way back when I was posting content in the productivity niche and the personal development niche. And I think probably within the first 2 weeks of posting, like 3 of my videos had reached over 10 million views, which felt insane. And I stayed in those areas for a really long time because I was getting lots of sponsors and I was working with lots of brands, and it was kind of like this instant gratification and this instant success. It felt so surreal and it felt so insane to have all these people following along online. At one point, every single day, a new brand was reaching out to me asking to do a collaboration, but just in that productivity and that student space. We've seen so many companies come out with like AI essay writers or knockoff versions of Grammarly and things like that. As you know, AI gets bigger and it kind of bleeds into other areas of life. And that early success in my creator journey and when I first started posting was kind of bittersweet because I had all the success and the money was really good. And because everything was so good, I never actually gave myself the chance to branch out into areas like this or what I do right now, working with people one-on-one instead of big companies. I never gave myself the chance to get into that sooner because I was stuck in that loop of viral content. And I was so obsessed with the numbers that I didn't want to do anything or post anything that would potentially, bring my numbers down or limit my reach. Numbers feel really nice. Big numbers feel really nice. I think that most of us on social media have this tendency to underemphasize how much 1,000 people are. We don't quite realize the value in talking to 100 people or 1,000 people or 10,000 people. And that's kind of the trap that I fell into, right? I was always wanting more views. I was always wanting more likes. And I wasn't really building depth like I'm trying to do now. I wasn't really building a community that genuinely wanted to be there and that genuinely was following my journey because they liked me as a creator, as opposed to my content just did really well for the algorithm because I was creating for the algorithm. It's hard because so many people fall into this mindset that when something's working, you don't want to touch it. You want to just leave it where it is and continue to let it work. But if that's not really the direction that you want to go in, or if that's not really what you see yourself doing forever, or at least, you know, a few years down the line, or if that doesn't really match up with your financial goals, like a lot of my income was unpredictable and it was unstable and it wasn't really where I wanted it to be in terms of numbers. A lot of people find it hard to pivot and adapt when something is like kind of working, where you don't want to lose what's working right now, but it's not really where you want it to be. So for those of you out there who are in a similar situation, it's important to remember that you can always rebuild. Myself as proof. Technically right now, I am living out my dream. I'm creating content and I'm doing my thing 1,000 times further than I ever thought I would get. I guess none of us really know if we're pursuing the right thing. We don't really know if what we're doing is going to be sustainable for the future, if it's going to be something that we want to continue to do in the future. I didn't know back then what I wanted to do. It was kind of something that evolved slowly over time. I kind of had to experience creating viral content and experience working with brands in the way that I was working with to know that that wasn't really what I wanted. At the moment, creating and posting my first YouTube video feels like the right thing to do. I don't know if it will be a year down the line. I feel like I'm on the right path, and that's all I can really ask for. You and I don't really know if the path that we're on right now is going to be the path that we want to be on in the future, but all we can really do is take it step by step and day by day. This is my first YouTube video, but I don't think it will be my last. If you've made it this far watching, thank you. I cannot thank you enough for the continuous support and the continuous encouragement that you've given me. See you in my next video.